It's good to be here again in this live session of the reading of our book on Qigong meditation, Embryonic reading. Okay, so before we start the chapter 3, I want to ask you if you are registered for the neurosomatic quantum key healing training that will be coming up this November, the day 16th and 17th of this month. It's just 1 hour each day, 9 p.m. GMT +1. Okay, so in the bio, my bio link, you can see the registration link there. Click on it and register, and let us have a wonderful, wonderful time together for our health, our vitality, our happiness, and then longevity. So the chapter 3, we hope to complete it this month, just for 1 month, and then chapter 4 and the rest of the book we hope to complete by the end of the year, which is December. So in this chapter 3, I'm going to read out quotations. It's actually based on translations and commentaries of ancient documents. But because there are so many, like the way the author also mentioned, I will only read out the translations. And maybe if you wish to know the commentaries that try to explain what these translations mean, then maybe we can have some time together outside this basic reading. So to lay the foundation, I will read the introductory part according to the author. Alright, so more than 150 documents related to embryonic breathing practice, written during nearly 4,000 years of Chinese Qigong history, are available. Many of these documents focus on the theory, while others emphasize the general concept of the practice. Naturally, the contents of many of these documents are redundant or repetitious. This author has read them, filtered them, studied and experimented with them, and searched for possible explanations written in each document. With all of these efforts of his, he still believed that there are many more related documents that he has not yet discovered. However, through the available documents, he is able to conclude and formalize a clear idea of what embryonic breathing is, the theory behind it, and also its practice methods. From these ancient documents, we are able to see the verification and achievement of this spiritual practice. This provides us with encouragement, confidence, and inspiration to pursue our final goal of spiritual enlightenment. In order to benefit from these documents, we should have a correct attitude when we study them. We should also be open-minded with deep appreciation. We should remain humble and establish our confidence. Actually, in the day 1 of the upcoming neurosomatic quantum healing session, I'll be talking about the Achievers A5 quantum leap. Okay, and one of the A5 here is appreciation. Okay, all right, so let's go on. Yet we should not hesitate to challenge the statements in the documents, to test them, and to verify them. We should try to judge the entire practice from a logical and scientific point of view. Studying these documents repeatedly and pondering on them carefully will lead us to the path of profound internal feeling. Such a profound internal sensitivity will enable us to find our true natural identity and the real meaning of our lives. It will also lead us to appreciate the greatness of the natural universe. We can free ourselves from the matrix of spiritual bondage that has been formalized in the course of human history. Only if we are able to liberate ourselves from this human spiritual matrix can we expect to have a neutral mind to further develop our spiritual science. We must recognize that all religions created in the past are spiritual matrices which act against the true science which continues to pursue the truth of nature. So it's based on the understanding of each religious cycle that they try to let other people come to the knowledge and then be able to experience what they are trying to extend to the others. Okay, so but if we embrace the true essence of nature, we can find the true meaning of our lives and then we can grow from there forward. Now, the main sources of documents, according to these authors' writing, were from Taoist and Buddhist society, with a few from scholar and medical society of Qigong. Documents generated from martial arts society are very scarce. Even though there are some, their discussion and practice remains at the surface level. So in this chapter, the author has tried to use the following documents and commented on them. So these are his sources. Dao De Jing Qigong by Ding Xingbai, 1996. Then the Chinese Qigong Dictionary by Lu Guangrong, 1988. The Great Completion of Chinese Qigong by Fang Chun Yang, 1989. The Study of Practical Chinese Medical Qigong by Ma Jiren, 1992. The Complete Book of Nourishing the Life in Chinese Taoist Qigong by Li Juanguo, 1991. The Great Completion of Chinese Life Nourishing by Fang Chun Yang, 1992. And number 7, Important Collection of Concealed Taoist Qigong by Ong P. Mo, 1991. So before we go through this session, we should understand that it is very difficult to translate ancient Chinese writings. Because of the cultural differences, many expressions would not make sense to the Westerner if translated literally. Often, knowledge of the historical context is necessary. Furthermore, since in Chinese every sound has several possible meanings, when anyone tries to understand a poem or write it down, he has to choose from among these meanings. For this reason, many of the poems or articles have several variations. The same problem occurs when the poems or articles are read. Many Chinese characters also have several possible meanings, so reading involves interpretation of the text even for the Chinese. Also, the meaning of many words has changed over the course of the time. When we had to these, the grammatic differences, generally no tenses, articles, singular or plural, or differentiation between parts of speech, we will find that it is almost impossible to translate Chinese literally into English. In addition to all this, the translator must have much the same experience and understanding, as well as similar intuitive feelings as the original author, in order to convey the correct meaning. With these difficulties in mind, the author has attempted to convey as much of the original meaning of the Chinese as possible based on his own Qigong experience and understanding. Although it is impossible to fully translate the original meaning, he feels that he has managed to express the majority of the important points. The translation has been made as close to the original Chinese as possible, including such things as double negatives and at times idiosyncratic sentence structure. Words that are understood but not actually written in the Chinese text have been included in parentheses. Although also some Chinese words are followed by the English in parentheses. For example, when you say Shen, it means spirit, the spirit. In order to assist our understanding, he has included commentaries from his personal understanding of the documents. Although in this reading, I'm not going to really dwell on the commentaries for the sake of time. This chapter 3 is the largest part of this book. I will only dwell on his translation, which I want us to trust that he has done a great job as much as possible to let us understand and be in the moment according to the original text. Okay, it is again not easy to offer us a perfect commentary with 100% accuracy. So there are many special Qigong terminologies which were used in the past. These terminologies can have different meanings depending on when they were used, how they were used, where they were used, and who were the ones using them. For example, the crown of the head is called Bai Hui, the GB20, and in Chinese it usually means 100 meetings by Medical Society Tianlin Gai. And then, it means Tianlin Gai, that is cover of natural, spiritual, divine, or Ni Wan Gong, Mud Peel Palace. These are the interpretations or the way it's presented by Taoists. Now, in order to translate these terms correctly, the author now has consulted many Qigong dictionaries and documents and searched for the best answer. Often, it does not make sense when we read the translation. However, after we read and understand, okay, the commentaries, the documents can be understood. But I may not be able to read all the commentaries, okay? So, to make it easier for us, the author has tried to clarify these documents according to their main focus within the translation, okay? Through this effort, the author hopes we can establish a structural sense from the beginning. That is, as we begin from 3.2, which is the general concepts. He included also those documents which talk about the general concept of embryonic breathing, and he gathered those which talk about the Dantian, and then that is in section 3.3, and then he also classified those that are related to the concept of regulating the breathing, the mind, and the spirit in the section 3.4 and 3.5, and then 3.6 respectively. As to the training methods, he tried to include them in section 3.7. Finally, the last session includes a few documents that do not belong to any of the above categories. So let us start. I just read them like quotes as slowly as I can, trusting that the translation are enough for us to grasp the concepts and the idea being translated. Come with me. All right. So, under the general concepts, we have Tao De Jing. Okay, the chapter 10 of Tao De Jing. The first thing we read out here as a quote, as per translation, is when bearing and managing the vital spirit and embracing or maintaining it to simplicity, singularity, can it be not separating? When concentrating the key to reach its softness, can it be as soft as a baby? When cleansing the thought to reach its purity, can it be no flaw? When loving the people and ruling the country, can it be no ruling? The opening and closing of the heaven gate, can it be calm and tender as a female? To comprehend nature and reach the four directions, can it be known without knowing? When bearing and raising, if one can bear without keeping it to self, raising without being meritorious, leading without controlling, then this is the way of profound natural virtue. That is, we mentioned regulating without regulating. We are regulating our breathing, but we are not getting labored by it. That is, we are not, it's like when one first starts to drive, the person is driving and too very conscious, overconscious, okay, too aware that sometimes the new driver can make mistakes, can press on the clutch can press on the accelerator while he wants to press on the brake, match the brake. But as time goes on and the person gets mastery, the person can drive without driving, as it were. So we can regulate without regulating our breath. So we are leading without enforcing control. We are having the knowledge of direction without really um, knowing. We are knowing the direction without knowing. We know where the north is, know where the south is, where the east is, where the west is. We have the sense of orientation, the compass, without really having to keep referring to the real compass. So it's just that's what that is trying to tell us. So when we are practicing Qigong or Tai Chi, we know the direction where the knee faces without really being too conscious that I have to put it this way. You already know. It becomes like automatic. All right. So that's what that is saying. That is, we come to a stage of our practice that we are able to learn. The brain already mapped out patterns that is like a second nature. You just flow through it. That's why they say practice makes perfect. Number 2 of Tao Te Ching, chapter 16, there's another translation from there that says, approach and follow the nothingness or emptiness to its extremity and maintain calmness with sincerity, even in the face of danger. Okay. Millions of objects are in action which allow us to observe their cyclic repetition. We are surrounded by a lot of patterns. Though there are so many objects, each individual must repeatedly return to its root or origin. When it returns to the root, it means calmness. When it is calmed, it means repetition of a life. When the life repeats, it means constant natural routine. We have seasons, okay? Pendulum moving, coming and coming back, going and coming. Coming to the center, coming, going up, come back to the center, going up, okay? If one knows this constant natural routine, then his mind is clear and enlightened. But if one does not know this constant natural routine, then various unfortunate dangers could occur. If one knows this constant natural routine, then life is permitted. Live and let live. When life is permitted, then it is impartial. If it is impartial, then it can be completed. When it is completed, then it is heaven. When it is heaven, then it is Tao, natural. If it is Tao, then it can be longevity, and death of the body will not be near. Expansion, like expansion, okay? So all life originates from nothingness. Therefore, in order to see the repetition of life, we must first reach this nothingness. We have to maintain calm at all times, even in the face of danger. Number 3, taken from the Song of Great Tao, 8 Notes of Life Abundance, the marvelous theory of abundance for pure cultivation. Okay? The great Tao is not far away, but inside the body. Okay, bliss is inside, is within us. Okay, 10,000 objects are empty, but the human temperament is not empty. A lot of thoughts go through our mind per second. Okay, if the human temperament cannot be empty and stay together with the key harmoniously, how can key return to its original ocean at the real lower dantian and expect unlimited longevity? If you wish to keep the spirit in the body, then do not leave even an object in link thigh. Don't leave it in the spiritual platform. If any object, that is thought, stays in the heart, that is the mind, the spirit will not be clear. Okay? If you focus on something, keep thinking about it, you get worried. Okay? You will not have a clear spirit or a clear mind. This will waste the real essence. It wastes your energy. It burns your energy and damage the tendons and bones, can cause sickness within the body, the physical body. The spirit directs the key, and from key, the shape remains. We can remain healthy because our thoughts takes up form and materializes after it is condensed. Okay? But to keep healthy, we have to let our spirit direct our ki, and then this ki manifests over time. So we pay attention to our thoughts and our thoughts process. Now, in this case, you will live for a long time without needing herbs if your thoughts are pure. Okay. The techniques are easy. However, the secrets are hard to obtain. The correct ways have always been changed into wrong ones. Okay? And separated from the expert path. There is a chance that corruption sets in at some point. Therefore, even though 1,000 people or 10,000 people have learned about this, after all, there is not even one who has accomplished. Only a few really have succeeded. Whenever the spirit has exited from the physical body, immediately bring it back. Bring it back. Whenever you realize that you are going too deep in some thought, before depression sets in, before some suicidal thoughts creep in, before we lose it, we have to bring it back. Okay? Call the spirit back to its residence to maintain calm and maintain sanity. Okay? Alright, so when the spirit has returned to the physical body, the ki will also return automatically. Our energy returns, our morale rises when we call back our spirits and our mind. As such, practice every morning and evening. The spiritual embryo will be conceived and born naturally. So practice calmness regularly. Therefore, over time, naturally, you can achieve your goals. So keep your goal before you, keep focus, pay attention to it, revisit it, and then you can birth your vision. Number 4, jade pendant inscription of transporting ki. Jade pendant inscription of transporting ki. When transporting ki, energy within us, if deep, then accumulate. You can accumulate this energy if you make it deep, if you make it focused. Okay. If ki is accumulated, then it can be extended, it can be shared, it can last longer as a fully charged battery. When it is extended, it can be sunken downward. Okay. If sunken downward, then it becomes steady. If steady, then becomes firm. If firm, then is able to germinate. After germinating, it can grow. When it grows, it then retreats. When it retreats, it can return to the heaven. The foundation of the heaven is at the top. That is why we call the top, the upper dantian, the place of spiritual enlightenment, the brain, the whole totality of the brain. And if the foundation of the earth, and the foundation of the earth is at the bottom, the foundation of the heaven is at the top, the foundation of the earth is at the bottom, which is the real lower dantian, the ocean of bliss, okay, the ocean of ki, just around the abdomen. And now it's if following these rules, then live. If you do not follow these rules, then death will set in. Death creeps in little by little when we do not energize our body appropriately. Okay, so number 5, this talks about still with 100 words. When circulating ki, do not just constantly talk about how to keep or protect it. When descending the mind to calm down, it should be done without doing. Done without doing, okay? It becomes like natural. If you know the origins or causes of movement, the yang, and stillness, the yin, then there is no reason for you to ask anyone else. To face the real reality, you must deal with daily affairs. However, when you deal with these daily affairs, you should not be infatuated infatuated by them. It's about attachment, detachment. You don't get too attached to mundane things. You don't get infatuated by them. If you are not infatuated, then your temperament can be steady. You can put them under self-control. When the temperament is steady, the key will naturally return to be preserved. If the key can be preserved, the elixir can be conceived. Consequently, can, which is water, and li, which is fire, and all the associated organs within the body can coordinate with each other within the kettle, that is, can be under control. Not too much energy, not too little energy. There is balance, homeostasis. When there is yin-yang interaction, the repeated cycle will be initiated, that is self-runs, automated, okay? This will bring you a natural derivation of a new life, a new experience. Like thunder, you get enlightened. White clouds are moving upwards, and sweet dew is sprinkling completeness of human nature. You can drink the wine of longevity by yourself. Then how can others know how free and unfettered you are? When they see how your life is, then they see that indeed you have drank the wine of longevity by yourself. You sit down to listen to songs generated from instruments or just from the bliss that you experience inwardly, as now your happiness does not depend on external factors as it used to be. Now you can listen to songs even without strings. You're just happy, and people wonder, why are you happy? You dancing. Then who is singing for you? Why are you dancing? Even in the midst of trouble, you remain calm, cool, and collected, focused, directing your energy appropriately. But without strings, you listen to songs. You comprehend clearly the pivotal function of natural creation. In total, these are 12 sentences which offer you the ladder to ascend up to enlightenment. Number 6, classic of embryonic breathing. The embryo is conceived from the concealed ki. Ki is developed through the regulated breath. When ki is present, the body may live. When spirit abandons the body and the shape disperses, death follows. Knowing how to cultivate the spirit and ki makes long life possible. Firmly protect the insubstantial emptiness at the lower dantian, lower dantian, so as to cultivate spirit and ki. When spirit moves, the ki moves. When spirit stops, the ki stops. If you wish to have a long life, spirit and ki must harmoniously coordinate with each other. When the heart and mind connection is not infatuated by thoughts, little man, please be careful. That's my baby. Okay? When the heart mind interaction is not infatuated by thoughts coming and going, that is, you are able to make your thoughts steady, the spirit and the ki will not exit and enter, that is, they remain at the residence steady, and thus they will always stay naturally. To practice intelligently is a true way of success. To practice intelligently is the true way of success. It's like human mechanics, human body mechanics, human kinetics, learning how to use our own body to maintain health and wellness. Now, number 7, embracing simplicity. This explains stagnation. Those who have obtained the ability of breathing appropriately, the embryonic breathing, are able to breathe without using the nose and mouth, like the breathing of a fetus in the womb. That's why we call it womb breathing. That is, you are able to breathe in a relaxed manner, that your mind is able to achieve a profoundly calm meditative state, and the waves generated by your brain can be at the state that benefits you at all times. So our breathing will be long, quiet, slender, soft, calm, smooth, continuous, and very rich and nourishing, as if we were not breathing at all. Number 8, Ling Jian Sees Dao Jin Ziwu recording, as recorded by this mentioned fellow. He said, "What is embryonic breathing? It is a method of embracing and maintaining singularity, simplicity, the natural center of gravity, and keeping it in that neutral state, not wavering, not being tossed up and down. Like we are being pulled, your attention is being called on every side, but we are not torn apart. You remain centered. When we lose our center, then we lend our strength, our power, our ability to controlling situation. Okay, an embryo in the womb takes air through the umbilical cord. After 10 months of pregnancy, it becomes a newborn, 9, 10 months. Okay, according to Chinese calendar, it's 10 months. Then the baby will take the hair from the shen, lu, from the head, the breathing. A truthful person, that is someone who has reached the Tao, breathes deeply, but not from the nose. Embryonic breathing is what Lao Tzu said about returning to the baby state of breathing. This is embryonic breathing. Most of the time, the baby, when we are young children, we breathe and our abdomen expands, protrudes. But over time, we lost this ability to breathe into the abdomen because we don't like the way our stomach protrudes. We want to keep this six-pack thing. We want to remain slender and fit. So we breathe into the chest, and then we get to shortchange ourselves a lot. But returning to the womb, to the natural state, is to make sure we practice this embryonic breathing, the womb breathing. Number 9, the classic of Tai Shang's embryonic breathing for life nourishment says, concerning the method of breathing, you must have an emotional mind, like an embryo in its mother's womb. After 10 months of pregnancy, remember the Chinese calendar, it matures, tendons and bones are harmonious and soft. Using the yin mind, the wisdom mind, to seize thoughts, then the harmonious key will arrive automatically. Okay, so we are talking about the grand uppermost when we say Tai Shang. Okay, so we are saying that the emotional mind develops after birth. Okay, but we have to regulate our mind. We have to put it under control. The wisdom mind should govern the emotional mind. Now, number 10, the complete book of principal contents of human life and temperament said in a part as this, that real swan and real pin inhale and exhale by itself automatically. It is just like the pond fish swimming in the springtime, like torpidity of hundreds of insects. The key contained inside is joyful and harmonious, and the spiritual wind blows constantly, neither dirty nor clean, not from the mouth nor from the nose, going nowhere and coming from nowhere. No exit, no entrance. Everything has returned to its roots and origin. This is a real embryonic breathing. The terminology Zhuan and Pin has been interpreted thus. It says 3 inches under the navel is key high, also called the lower dantian, or Zhuan Pin. So what is Zhuan? Zhuan means water, Xuan, and Pin means mother. So those who cultivate the Tao always conceal their key under the navel, because that is the bio battery where we store the energy, and there is where we keep the shen, the spirit. It is when we raise the shen that it goes through the thrusting vessel, which is our spine, to the upper dantian, which is the brain or the head region. So we keep the shen at its residence within the body. Now, from the mutual harmonization of the spirit and the key, the Zhuan Tai, marvelous embryo, is formed at the solar plexus, which was what we covered last week at the end of chapter 2. So, number 11, the thesis of retaining the Shen and firming the key says, in addition, according to the theory of bearing and variation, those who carry only Yang, the positive, strong one part of the Tao, will not bear the offspring, and those who carry only Yin, the soft part, which is like the female, the Yang is like the male, okay, will not grow. Those perfect men, that is, those who have reached the Tao, talk about nourishing the holy embryo and searching for the exit way of death. Know, and they know that can, which is water, or li, which is fire, lead or mercury cannot be left alone. If it is not from the intercourse of the dragon and the tiger, that is at the solar plexus, okay, mixing of the yin and yang, and from establishing the key axis at the marvelous extremity, which is the lower real dantian, is the one that joins to the bottom of the ocean, which is the perineum. Okay, and that is the softest place, the most yin part of the body. It is those people who is someone who is able to stabilize the original harmonization of spirit and ki and breathe as an embryo. I want to read it again. In addition, according to the theory of bearing and variation, those who carry only yang will not bear the offspring, and those who carry only yin will not grow. Those perfect men that talk about nourishing the holy embryo and searching for the exit way of death, they know that can or li, lead or mercury cannot be left alone. If it is not from the intercourse of the dragon and the tiger, and from establishing the key axis at the marvelous extremity, who is able to stabilize the original harmonization of spirit and ki and breathe as an embryo? Can means water, Li means fire, lead and mercury. Lead is Kian and mercury is Gong, are commonly used terms in Taoist society. Lead and mercury were used in Taoist alchemy to adjust yin and yang of the elixir. Now the dragon and the tiger are commonly used to represent yin and yang. So Kan and Li are the methods that will result in the change or adjustment of yin and yang. Now, for us to birth the spiritual embryo, we have to create an harmonious interaction between yin and yang. So when the yin, which is the yang, which is believed to be the fire key, which comes from the hair and the food, it resides in the middle dantian, okay, the diaphragm area, which is just near lower section of the sternum. And the water key, on the other hand, which is yin, is produced from the original essence, like the kidney, okay, and this really lower dantian near the abdomen. So when we lead the fire key downward, like we explained last week, and the water key upward, they interact at the Wang Ting, which is called the Kan Li, the solar plexus. For today, number 12 will be the last, and that is refined thesis of embryonic breathing. Lao Tzu said, those who know the Tao, the natural way, heaven will not kill. Those who know the Tao, who know the natural way, who embrace natural essence, heaven will not kill. And those who have contained the natural virtue, heaven will not harm. Heaven will not harm those who have preserved the natural virtue. Thou and thee embrace each other mutually. If you do not wish to be weak and old, you want to be forever young, okay? You want to embrace longevity, okay? You want to embrace it now. The most important key is to absorb the internal grand harmonious original key. Train yourself to keep the mind clear and pure, to keep the body relaxed and natural. Do not hold on to thoughts of the ego. Maintain the internal organs in their peaceful and steady, healthy state. Comprehend the grand harmony of nature profoundly. Ponder the theory of longevity deeply. Conceal the key at the Bible battery, the real lower dantian, without moving it away, without wasting it, without dissipating it unnecessarily. Now, the Yi, which is the wisdom mind or logical thinking, is like a stream flowing without disturbance. Maintain flow, no resistance, no impedance. If you are able to train this without ceasing continuously, then you have really gained the Tao. You have really gained the Tao. So you gain nature, you gain expertise when you practice all this. Okay, to round up, there is something formed in nature which existed before the heaven and the earth, quiet and rare, independent and unchanging. It continues cycling and does not rest. Perpetual motion. Okay? It can be the mother of the heaven and the earth. It's just called Tao, nature. It can be called grand, big, Da. So we can see that once we start to talk about the great nature, we are using only our limited knowledge, influenced by emotion, to make an interpretation of nature. This has already led the real meaning of nature away from the truth. This is because humans are not truthful, according to the writer here. We lie, we play tricks on each other, we conceal truth, we give half truth. And according to the Chinese belief system, that is why our third eye closed. Okay? This is because we are not truthful, so we lie, we play tricks on each other, and we have a serious mask on our faces. And you can see that a lot on social media. We put it out there, all is well, all is good, but in the reality of it, maybe not always so. Not only that, we have created an emotional matrix through our limited thinking and beliefs, maybe by cultural background or stories or attachment, day-to-day experiences, and then we become trapped in this emotional bandage. Therefore, the closest way to describe the Tao is to call it the natural way. And DE, is the manifestation of the Tao or the activities of nature. How much of nature do you like? How much of nature do you love? How much of nature do you embrace? How much of nature do you appreciate and you permit in your life? How many trees are around you? How many trees are in your compound? Or your compound is concreted? All. No plants, nothing. You just cemented everywhere. In your living room, do you have a living plant? Do you throw your windows open to allow in clean air? Do you pay attention to your food, what you eat? How clean is it? How much of chemicals are involved there? How much of preservatives? How much of chemicals are pumped into the meat you eat? How old are those chickens? How old is that pig? How old was that bull or that cow? How much of injections have they received before you ate them? How much of chemicals were used to preserve them? All the duration of transportation on the sea, and how long have they been there? How fresh is your food? How alive is your food and your water, what you eat? Do you eat things that are dead on arrival? Okay. So we pretend a lot. Yes, yes. Thank you, my brother. All the way back and all the way from that end. Thank you. We pretend a lot, even with our health status. We pretend to be healthy when we are not. Do we know our internal state, the internal state of our organs, our internal state, our thoughts, how healthy our thoughts are, how healthy our organs are, how do we breathe? Do we speak the truth? Truth is also health. But when we lie, then we begin to develop diseases. Disease means dis-ease. When we topple over ease and balance, something is at ease. My language will say adìyẹ bá lókun, ara ò rókun, ara ò rádìyẹ. Adìyẹ is the chicken, the fowl. When it lands on a line, for example, then there is imbalance. The line, for example, the one we use to spread our cloth in the sun, when a bird, now a chicken, a fowl lands on it, then it begins to move and the line is not balanced. But if the fowl is able to achieve balance and harmony to become one with the line, probably it can maintain balance. But what do we do when we tweet it? We change what is true. We had a little lie here, had a little lie there. We sell things with unjust scale. You give something to a customer, you don't give the value for the money. You go to work, you don't give the value of time for the amount for your wages. All these things, these are energy. Energy in motion, emotion. Energy cannot be created, cannot be destroyed, can only be changed from one form to the other. We talk about karma, we talk about whatever goes around comes around. Okay? But when we follow nature, we can live a long, healthy life. We don't cut corners, we don't cheat, we are not in a hurry to achieve or to arrive. Someone said, when we grow up, we stay up. When we jump up, we come down. Okay? So we should not cut corners. We should embrace nature. Embracing nature also means that chicken, before you kill it, it lives its lifespan, or more or less it grows and is mature. Not because they gave it an injection and over 2 weeks, it's ready, big. Some of these chickens cannot even stand on their legs because they are rushed to grow to gather weights, and then the legs are not strong enough to carry them. And we are what we eat, much more, we are what we absorb. So it affects our health when we now eat those kinds of meat. We eat the kind of pork that in reality maybe they're just 2 weeks old or 1 month old, and then we take them as though they are already matured. But the big ag, the big farmer, all the big things, if they are out there to make money, they're out there to do business. But then we don't have time. You have to learn the art of slowing down. One of the things I want to talk about in the upcoming training on the 16th and 17th of November, I will cover these areas. We should learn the art of slowing down. Now we are talking about smart city, and it's even one of the goals of the SDGs. Smart city. How smart can we? Can we over smart nature? But when we learn to appreciate, to relax, to not to force things, let things take their lifespan. It's not yet to happen, then don't force it, don't push it. Let it happen at its right time. Let a chicken grow up normally to be strong and mature. There are a lot of things, okay? Okay, so if we match the Tao and the Di and we make it harmonious, nature and its ways, if they align, they're harmonious with each other, then we can keep our body from getting withered, weak, and old. And we must practice a few things. One, cultivate the internal original key and conserve it. Your breath, breathe properly to have your energy conserved. Some of us we climb a few boxes on the stairway and we are already fagged out. Any little thing we are tired. Okay? So we should breathe properly to have a lot of storage of key of our energy, because we have a lot of energy sensing organs. Okay? The currency we spend as humans is energy. The currency of metabolism is energy. I spoke about this in the Longevity Nigeria week, which we had on the 31st of October. The video is also available on the IG Live. You can look for it. Okay? Two, we should keep the mind clear and pure, calm and peaceful. Do not have an ego which makes you worry and disturbs your emotional mind. Keep the wisdom mind active. When this happens, the spirit can be maintained to a high level. Number three, maintain the body's strength, the positivity, the yang, and keep the body and mental bodies relaxed and comfortable. Yin. Okay, soft. Then the circulation of the entire internal qi will be harmonious, and consequently the internal organs will be healthy and harmonious. This is called Tai He, grand harmonization. Naturally, the key to reaching this harmonious stage is constant practice. So we will go on from here next week, Tuesday. I want to thank every one of you that have come online to listen to the live reading. I'm very grateful. Others will watch it later on. Um, so at this point, please don't forget, check the link in the bio. You can see the registration link there for the neurosomatic quantum key healing. It's just 1 hour each day, 16th and 17th, which is 9 p.m. GMT plus 1. And we'll be talking about things that will benefit us for healthy mind and healthy body. Our physical health, our mental health, our spiritual health. These three things are very important. So at this point, I say thank you again to your health, to your wellness, to your wealth, to your happiness, to your sanity, to your vitality, and to your longevity. Stay safe, keep breathing, keep succeeding. Bye for now.